Bam.
Yeah, that's nice.
Good evening. This is Christian Quintin. I'm glad to have you tonight. It's the last lecture, so it's a special one. And this is about German art of the 19th century, which include a lot of romantic art. So German Romanticism was an intellectual movement during the 19th century. And at its core, it was a revolt against materialism and industrialization. It had people like Karl Marx. I looked at hundreds of artists and their work, and I'm going to attempt to present the artwork by genres. And I just wanted to warm you up with some images of Germany. This is the city of Munich in the 19th century. And I find it wonderful to look at how people were dressed.
Mhm.
This is still Munich in 18 something at the end of the 19th century. Isn't that cool?
Wow. I love the top edges of the buildings.
I also love them
Look
because they
like
do
this.
separate lanes for horses and people. Everybody just walks and rides in the middle of the street. You don't have to stay on the sidewalk.
And this one is a photograph in Frankfurt.
Yeah.
And that's still around probably
That's one of the few
it's probably
pieces that
still 1870.
a lot of that stuff got bombed in the last war. But I think that's one of the few that's still standing.
I'm going to start with this painting. This is a German painter called Julius Schmid, and it's called Schuberiad because the person playing piano in front of you is Schubert. So Julius Schmid, the artist, was born in Vienna in 1854, but he was a friend of Schubert, and he won the Prix de Rome, and he had for teacher Hans Makart, who is a famous German artist, and that was the same teacher that Gustav Klimt had. So this is Schubert playing piano for a group of people. It's an oil painting. And from the same artist, this is Beethoven walking in nature. Beethoven was born in 1770. Beethoven is certainly my favorite with Chopin. And staying with the musical notes here, this is the house where Brahms was born in 1833. Brahms was a German composer born in 1833, and that's the house where he was born. It looks a little fragile, doesn't it?
Oh.
It looked like it's made of matchstick and it could collapse. So
That's
I'll
a lot
start
of,
with a few landscapes, German landscape of the 19th century. And I saw a lot of artists. Sometimes I just choose one painting of a certain artist, like in this instance. This is Carl Gustav Karus. This is Memory of a Wooded Island in the Baltic Sea, so probably where Prussia used to be. And I just found this painting so lovely,
Mhm.
and I can't, it's just so peaceful and beautifully done. It
Mm.
makes me want to be there, certainly. This is Jakob Philipp Hackert.
Mhm.
He was a painter from Brandenburg. Brandenburg is where Berlin is, that's the heart of Prussia. But he did most of his work in Italy. And this is Firework over Castel San Angelo in Rome. It's a gouache painting made in 1775.
Mm.
Staying with landscape, this is a great artist called Ludwig Munthe, Munthe, and this is Winter in Germany. He was born actually he was a Norwegian painter, but he lived in Dusseldorf, Germany. And this is such a pretty snowy landscape at sunset. And he
Mhm.
painted this one called Winter Landscape. And this to me is a very powerful painting, you know, the dark and light and what looked like a fox killing. It's very intense and brooding image, beautifully painted. He also painted this on a much more peaceful note. And for those of you who have dogs, you can, it's a sweet picture. This is August Friedrich Schenk. He spent most of his life in France, and he's known for his landscapes of animals and sheep. This is a ewe, I don't know if I'm saying it right, ewe, woman sheep, I guess, grieving over the dead body of a lamb surrounded by black crowds.
Oh, yeah.
It is so strange to me that an artist would spend hundreds of hours painting such a gloomy subject. But it is beautifully executed and very dramatic. A much more fun image is this one. And I found this one absolutely captivating. This is George Sal. It's a family of bears in a mountainous landscape. It measures 65 inches by 43. The artist was born in Koblenz in 1817 and is known mostly for his paintings of Norway. And his work is very reminiscent of Albert Bierstadt. And I will show you his work in a little bit. This is still George Sal. This is a forest landscape. It's very romantic, isn't it?
Beautiful.
Many of you may be familiar with Albert Bierstadt because he spent most of his life in United States, so he's very, you know, he's a German-American painter. He's very, very famous. This is among the Sierra Nevada. It's a 10 feet wide painting. And Bierstadt was born in Prussia, actually, but he moved to the US when he was very, very young. This is Albert Bierstadt. This is the Rocky Mountain, and it shows some Indian tribe camping in this beautiful scenery. This painting was purchased in 1865, sorry, for the astounding amount of $25,000 in 1865. That's a lot of money. And this is his painting of the Merced River near Yosemite. And the last painting of his is this one, Mount Corcoran.
Wow.
The water is magnificent, and the bear give you an idea of the scale of the painting, or the scale of the scene, I should say. This is George Heinrich Kroller. He was a German landscape painter. He was born in Dresden in 1804. And when he was a child, his parents had a hard life, so they sent him to live in the family of his grandfather, who was a painter at the Royal Porcelain Factory. So that's how he started being in art. So you can see there's a lot of cracks in the painting, but the oak tree is absolutely beautiful. And this is his painting. Again, this is George Heinrich Kroller, and this is a thunderstorm on Lake Chiemsee. This is Edward Beyer. It's a natural bridge in Virginia. This is a lithograph. He was a German landscape painter born in Aachen in 1820, but he made a lot of lithograph of the south of the United States. This is a great German painter called Johann Martin van Roden. And this is the grotto, the cave of Neptune in Tivoli. The painter was born in Germany, but he spent a lot of his years in Rome.
Mm.
It's an oil painting. Isn't that pretty?
Mm-hmm.
Very unique way of painting. This is same artist, Johann Martin van Roden. This is at Subiaco. Subiaco is a little place near Capri in Italy.
Mm.
And you can see the monk at the bottom reading.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a delicate painting, and mostly the dimension and how he's able to convey the terrain is absolutely incredible. And he also did this painting, the same one of the Grotto of Neptune. This is at the Belvedere Museum of Art in Vienna.
Mm.
What is the artist's name?
Johann Martin van Roden. Roheden. Johann Martin van Roden. Roheden. This is Andreas Achenbach, another great German artist. This is a torrent. It's a powerful and moody mountain scene. And the artist was born in 1815 in the town of Kassel in Germany. This is Andreas Achenbach. And I'm going to show you one of the prettiest watercolor I have ever seen. And again, I'm going to say it's a watercolor.
Wow.
I have seen 3 great watercolors in my life, and this is one of them.
Mm.
Stunning, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Same artist. This is a coastal landscape with a city, so it's more fantasy. I have a painting from an artist called Karl Corniola. He was a German landscape painter born in Mannheim, but he died in Munich. He was born in 1773, and this is the Ambras Castle. And I can't tell you why I love this piece. I can't, but I absolutely love it.
The light.
The light, the colors, I'm mesmerized by this painting. But that's the only painting I found of his that I wanted to show you. This is an artist called Karl Howard Biermann, and this is the Finstermons Pass in the Tyrol Mountain, which are now in Austria. And this painting was done in 1830, and it reminds me of Chinese landscape,
Mm-hmm.
you know, with the mist and the very vague
Yeah.
mountains in the back. I wanted to show you some castles. This is Casper Schuren. This is a night castle in the snow. It measures 47 inches tall. And this painter was born in 1810. And again, his name is Casper Schuren. This is an artist called Edward Stigall. This is a view of Marburg, the old University of Marburg. So it shows the university above the land bridge. And this university was founded by Dominican order in the late 13th century. So this is his paintings of it, and this is a photograph of it. You see that?
Oh.
Do you see how the painter gives it this eerie, magical feel?
Yes. So much more.
So much more. This is an artist called Andreas Roller. It's a landscape with castle. And you won't be surprised to know that this artist, who was born in 1805, he was a landscape painter, but he was also a theatrical set designer.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
This is a bit of a neoclassical style painting. This is by an artist called Ludwig Richter. He was a painter and an etcher born 1803, and he was very popular in his days. And he illustrated books from the fairy tales of Grimm. And he made a lot of woodcuts from it. And this painting is called Civitella. It's a commune, little town in Tuscany, in Italy. This is Carl Friedrich Schinkel, a truly great artist. He was a Prussian architect, and you can see how he is also an architect just looking at his painting. He was a city planner and a painter, and he was born in 1781. This is called Castle by the River.
Oh, look at the deer.
Great depth.
What's his again, Christian? What's his name?
His name is Carl Friedrich Schinkel, Schinkel. And this is another painting called Gothic Church on a Rock by the Sea. And the last one of Carl Friedrich Schinkel is this one. It's a Gothic cathedral by the river. And I can't help to think that it looks a little bit like Notre Dame.
It does.
But it is nevertheless, this is painted in 1820. So it's quite remarkable to see these very surreal images where the artist is free to express his imagination. Now a greatly different painter. This is Max Emanuel Einmiller. He was a painter and a glassmaker. He was born in 1807, and he actually created the stained glass for a lot of churches and cathedral. This painting is the wedding of William V and Renata of Lorraine. It's an oil on panel, and it shows Renata of Lorraine marrying her first cousin, William, Prince of Bavaria. I did say marrying a first cousin. Same artist. This is Das Ulmer Münster. It's a Lutheran church in the city of Ulm in Germany. It's 46 inches tall. This is a Gothic church interior. And, I taught perspective, I taught three-dimensional perspective, and I also paint. I just want you to realize how difficult this is to sketch and to draw, but the sketch is incredible. This is such complex three-dimensional architecture. And so this is his painting of another church. It's the Stefanskirche Church in Vienna. I actually went to see it. This is the inside of the church. And you can see how teeny the people are. It gives you an idea of the scale of the church. This is the church I took a photograph of in Vienna. It is an amazing, very unique Gothic church. Another great German artist with a very unique style is Karl Blechen, Blechen. This is the interior of a palm house in the city of Potsdam, near the Baltic Sea. He was born in 1798 and he died in Berlin in 1840. And his style is very characteristic of the romantic ideal of natural beauty of his time. This is an oil painting. Very, very unique colors and style. And this is his painting of Gothic church ruins. So it's a very romantic painting where the artist is resting among the ancient ruin of a church. His painting look like watercolors. They have a unique fluid quality to them. This is a forest path overlooking a church. You can see the church in the background. It's 40 inches wide. It's just such an elegant painting. And he also traveled in Italy. This is called Marina Grande. It's a town near the port of Capri, again in Italy.
Hmm.
I found this woman, her name is Elisabeth von Aldeflicht. It's a cartographic illustration of the Rhine Valley. It was painted in 1811. So it's kind of a tourist map of his time. I'll show you after landscape, I'll show you some people as I try to group things in genre. This is an artist called Carl Ferdinand Sohn, S-O-H-N. And this is a painting of a woman called Mathilde. Mathilde Wessenbach, the woman that you see, was a German poet. And Richard Wagner left his wife for this young woman. And Wagner's wife, who blamed this young woman for the breakup, she wrote to her and she said, "I must tell you with a bleeding heart that you have succeeded in separating my husband from me after nearly 22 years of marriage. May this noble deed contribute to your peace of mind and to your happiness."
Whoa.
That beautiful? Same artist, this is Ferdinand Sohn. It's very neoclassical painting. It's called Torquato Tasso and the Two Leonores, painted in 1839. Torquato Tasso was an Italian poet of the 16th century.
Hmm.
I love this painting. The artist is Joseph Dorfmeister, and this is Luisa Maria Amelia Teresa of Bourbon. She's a French princess. She was also Princess of Naples and Sicily. And the artist is Joseph Dorfmeister. He was born in 1764 in Austria. It's quite striking painting, isn't it?
She looks like quite a personality.
She does. Look at the painting of her dress.
Yeah.
How difficult this is to do. This is an artist called Hugo von Habermann. It's a portrait of a young lady, and I think it's painted around 1880. I imagine this is a woman it's painted in 1889, sorry.
Hmm.
This is Hans Makart, M-A-K-R-T. It's called the Love Letters. It's a Neuland panel that is almost 60-inch tall, so a large painting. And Hans Makart was an Austrian painter born in 1840, and he also painted this. This is a portrait of a woman called Dora Fournier Gabillon, and it measures 57 inches. It's at the Vienna Art Museum. The colors are splendid. Those red and burnt oranges are magnificent. I'll show you a few genre painters, people that paint genre scene, as you will see. This is Theodor Hildebrand. This is the murders of the son of Edward IV. It's painted in 1835. And the two children were named the Princes of the Tower, and they were apparently murdered by their father, Edward IV of England. Look at the quality of this painting.
Hmm.
The different fabrics. Look at the pillow the man is holding in his hand. Look at the folds on the pillow.
And the
It's
fur.
well to see. I'm sorry.
And the fur in the foreground.
And the fur and the clothing of the children. The entire painting is just a masterpiece. So this is Theodor Hildebrand. He also painted this called The Robber. So this is very much in the romantic tradition, where the artist is often identified as the social outsider. I can relate. This is The Robber, and it measures 45 inches tall. A more social painter is Adolf von Menzel. This is the Iron Rolling Mill. He was a realist painter born in 1815, and he was one of the most well-known German artists with Caspar Friedrich, and we will see him later. This is the same artist, Adolf von Menzel. This is a concert for flute with Frederick the Great in Sanssouci. Frederick the Great, for those who don't know, was the king of Prussia, and Prussia was then a very powerful entity in the European theater. Prussia was completely erased from the map after World War II, but he is one of the most famous ruler of Prussia, and this is called Concert for Flute by Adolf von Menzel. I have a piece from the same artist, Adolf von Menzel, that is one of my very favorite. This is Death Visitors.
Oh.
Isn't it a powerful image?
Yeah.
You see how he's removing his shoe to walk in without making sound?
Oh.
It's terrifying and beautiful at the same time. It's a watercolor. This artist is Karl Hertel, Hertel, and this is Young German in School. And he does remind me of me, you know.
Wow.
I'm sure it brings memories to all of us. This is Karl Hertel. He was born in the city of Breslau in 1837.
Look at the teacher's face, poor guy.
Yeah. Same artist, this is Karl Hertel. This is called The Artist Interrupted. That painting makes me laugh.
I think it's supposed to be funny.
It's me painting while Jesse is playing music. This is a genre piece. It's after First Communion. It's from Carl Fridtjof Smith. He was a Norwegian painter who spent all his life in Germany. If the subject matter, you may find it uninteresting, look at the quality of the painting of the faces. These are people that did not work, there were no electricity then. People did not look at photographs to paint faces. Look how realist, how every face is completely different and exquisitely painted.
And the darkest hair against the white clothing sets the center of the painting as that girl's face.
It's lovely. This is Johann Peter Assenclever. It's called Hieronymus Jobs Before the Examiners. It's an old painting that was painted in 1840, and the artist himself was praised by Karl Marx as an example of proletarian art. So this is Hieronymus Jobs Before the Examiners, and this is the reading room. Oil painting, 1843. I'm sure you all have heard of Karl Marx.
Mm-hmm.
He was a German philosopher, sociologist, political theorist, journalist, socialist, revolutionary. I remember reading him when I was probably 19. I read Das Kapital. He also wrote the Communist Manifesto. And sadly, he had great ideas, but they were overtaken, by Communist Party that had nothing to do with the ideas of Karl Marx. So this is him.
Mm-hmm.
On a lighter tone, this is called The Vigilant Cobbler. It's by Karl van den Huber. And I don't know if you can see, you see my cursor here? You see what I pointed at? I don't know if it's a guard dog or a fox or...
Oh, outside.
Yeah. So Carl von Huber was born in 1811 and he painted a lot of actually animals. This is Jakob Gensler. He's a Tyrolese smuggler. Tyrol is a region in Austria in the mountain. And Jakob Gensler was born in the city of Hamburg in 1808, and he died very young in 1845. Now, if you want to see a really fun artist, the next few paintings are going to amuse you. This is a very unique painter. This is Karl Spitzweck. This is called The Poor Poet. Karl Spitzweck was born in 1805 near Munich, and his paintings are often very humorous and very romantic. This is called The Sunday Hunter.
Oh, yeah. I remember that one.
The expression on his face are priceless. This is the painter. This is the portrait artist. And you can note, the overturned nose of the person being painted. He has a very vain expression. His ability to convey motion and gesture is incredible. While his paintings are fun, the quality of his painting is incredible. Look at this painting of his.
Oh,
This is The Arrival of the Stagecoach. It's an oil canvas that measures 21. No, I think the size are wrong. It's much bigger. Look at the detail of this painting. And the last of Karl Spitzberg is this one. This is called The Bookworm.
wow.
Really fun and masterfully executed. This is George Emmanuel Oppi's. It's called Der Woller, which means the glutton.
Mm.
This artist was born in the city of Prague in 1775. This is a gouache. I remember showing you this painting, Terry, so I guess you've seen this lecture. This is The Irritating Gentleman by
Oh,
Bertolt
yeah.
Schultz.
That's a good one.
The Irritating Gentleman, painted in 1874. And you do want to slap that guy. He looks a little obnoxious, doesn't he?
Yes.
To be able to convey how obnoxious he is and how
And her-
obnoxious she is
and
just
her
remarkable to see. This is Felix Schlesinger in the same motif of people being caught. This is the painter kisses the model, and you can see that the mom is not too happy. An unusual painting is this one, but I didn't know where to put it in the lecture. This is Johann Erdmann Hummel. It's the granite dish in Berlin. And this granite dish is actually 17 feet wide, and it's cut from one huge rock of granite boulder. And it was cut straight from the boulder. And so it was kind of the painting is a little bit of a satirical view of the Industrial Revolution that is upon, Germany. This is at the time of Karl Marx. So this is Johann Erdmann Hummel. This is very famous sculpture in Berlin. He also painted this exquisite painting of a view of Wilhelm Castle.
Mm.
It's lovely. It's so peaceful, and the depth of the painting is remarkable. What a beautiful landscape.
Mhm.
And the same artist, Johann Erdmann Hummel, This is a portrait of Mrs. Louise Miller. I don't know who she was, but it looks like a painting of Magritte. It's very similar quality to Magritte. It's very, very unique. So I'll start showing you some romantic painting. I told you I would show you some romantic painting of the 19th century, so I'll do just that. This is Carl Friedrich Lessing, Landscape with a Monastery. And I have to tell you, this is as good of a landscape I've ever seen. You know, you can see the terrain going up and down toward the castle. It's very difficult to render, you know, these up and down, the depth and the perspective. It's such, I think not just the painting, but the drawing that preceded it was exquisite. You know, you can feel going up and down this path, and it's really a very difficult thing to achieve. So this is Carl Friedrich Lessing, and this is his painting. It's called The 1,000 Years Old Oak Tree. It looked like it belongs to a fable, you know. It's beautifully painted. These are the same artist, Carl Friedrich Lessing. These are riflemen defending a pass. It's painted in 1851. And you may see the gentleman to the right of the painting. There's a woman behind him holding a gun. He looked like a prisoner. His hands are tied behind his back. This is beautifully painted. Again, this is this is a long, long time ago where they did not have photograph or iPhone to look at images. And I'll show you one more painting of his. This is Carl Friedrich Lessing. This is an incredible painting. It's called The Return of the Crusader.
That's a great one. He's so depressed, dejected.
And to stay with this romantic tradition, this is Carl Julius von Lippold. And I only find one of his paintings that I like, but this one is extraordinary. You can feel the wind, you can imagine this mysterious character. It's a very captivating image. So this is Carl Julius von Lippold. This is Ernst Ferdinand Hohme, Ohme. This is called Moonlight. The artist was born in Dresden in 1797, and most of his painting portray very moody and romantic landscape with some architectural element, such as this one. This is Procession in a Fog by Ernst Ferdinand Hohme. He painted in the same tradition this one. This is a chapel on a mountain. Same artist. This is Scharfenberg Castle at Night. It's an oil canvas that is 33 inches wide. It's Scharfenberg Castle at Night. And I found a photograph of the castle. This is the castle. It's a 12th century castle built by Hohenstaufen King Conrad III. So that's his painting of it, see? And he also painted this one, which I really love. This is another castle called Honstein Castle. And Honstein Castle looked like this. That's what the artist painted. Isn't that beautiful colors?
Nice picture too.
This is George Friedrich Kirsting. It's an embroidery woman. It's so softly painted. The colors are wonderful. It's so simple, yet so magical. This is George Friedrich Kirsting. He was a German painter, and he was a friend of Caspar David Friedrich, the leading German romantic painter, and we're going to see his work at the end of the lecture. He also painted this. This is a study room with a gentleman at his secretary. When I was an adolescent, I had a secretary like that with the table that would open. And my mom bought it and was very proud of it. This is Hans Thoma. This is painted in 1876. And this artist was born in Breno in the Black Forest in Germany. And he painted here his mother and his uncle. It's very, very realist, very powerful. And it feels like something you and I have seen. It's a very familiar scene. This is called A Peaceful Sunday. And I chose to show you one more painting of his. I don't know how to classify this painting, but there's something really exciting about it. Tremendous energy. You can see these two lovers in the field. But to go on to more classical artists, this is Arnold Böcklin. He was a German-Swiss artist. He was born in the city of Basel, actually, in Switzerland. This is called the deposition, so it's tempera on panel. This is A Summer Day by Arnold Böcklin. A vibrant painting. It measures 24 inches tall, so a small painting. And I have three more paintings of his that I found absolutely incredible and so spiritual. Not this one, but this is another very romantic painting, German romantic painting, where you see somebody running away during the storm.
Wow, I like that one.
But the painting I was referring about is this one. This is called Sacred Grove. It's an oil on canvas that measures 59 inches wide. Very spiritual, very mythical, and secretive. And this is one of the greatest paintings I've seen. This is called The Island of the Dead.
Mm.
And there is some solace in looking at this painting. It makes death splendid and magnificent. And the painting is just absolutely awesome. You can see the two people bringing a coffin to the island of the dead.
Mm.
This is Ferdinand Sappho, kind of the same genre. This is Ferdinand Keller, and the painting is called Sappho. Sappho was a Greek poet born in 630 BC, and he was known for his lyric poetry, where his poems were sung to music. So Ferdinand Keller was a German painter born in 1842. This is Sappho, and this is Avenue of Sighs
Mm.
by Ferdinand Keller. The last artist I'm going to show you is definitely the most famous romantic artist in Germany in the 19th century. So I'll show you quite a few pieces of his work. This is Caspar David Friedrich. These are chalk cliffs at Rügen. Rügen is an island on the Baltic Sea. So Caspar Friedrich was born in 1788. This is painted in 1818. Yeah. So he married this woman called Christiane Caroline Böhmer, who was about 20 years his junior. And on their honeymoon, on July 1818, the couple undertook a summer holiday to the island of Rügen. This is Caspar David Friedrich. Friedrich is the romantic German artist par excellence, and he's painting often. Characteristically, you can see a human presence against a very diminished perspective with very expansive landscape. So there's quite a metaphysical dimension to his work. This is an abbey in the Oakwood.
Mm.
This is a view of Arkona, and I got to tell you, this is not an oil painting. This is a pencil work with sepia. Sepia color, if you don't know, is that a very unique color of brown, and sepia ink comes from the ink of the cuttlefish. That's how it's found. This is sepia. It's Cape Arkona on Rugen Island, where Friedrich went on vacation. Kern in the Snow. It's painted in 1807, 31 inches wide.
Mm.
He's very known for this painting.
Mhm.
This is a hiker above the sea fog. Probably his most famous painting. Is very iconic and certainly very, very romantic. This is the time of Beethoven. The Life Stages by Caspar David Friedrich. It's very surreal, his work. Or at least this painting certainly is. This is called Giant Mountains. And actually, it's painted in Germany. You know, I have seen very similar mountain or valley in like the Salinas Valley in California. You know, I've seen landscape like that, but it is beautifully executed, and it's painted in 1810. This is view of a harbor, painted in 1816, 35 inches tall.
Wow.
This is another famous painting by Friedrich. These are two men contemplating the moon.
Mm.
And I have two more paintings for you to end this lecture. This is Caspar David Friedrich, Seashore in the Fog.
Oh gosh.
It's not an easy thing to make something look
Yeah.
foggy or kind of opaque, or it's absolutely amazing. And I leave you with this last painting of Caspar David Friedrich. This is Moonrise over the Sea.
Oh.